Welcome back to That Dad Guy. I've got a few, to say the least, cards that I've got to write out today. I've picked out a bunch of postcards that I'm going to send out. I've got one official one I'm going to send. I have one that's a swap that's been a new request, and I've got a bunch of return mail to send, not to send back, but to respond to from last week. Getting 25 cards is great, but means you got a lot of cards to write back to keep the mail flow going. So that's what I'm going to do. So thanks so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting. And let's get to what I've got so far. So the first one is my official one. It's going off to Germany. He doesn't give any sort of indication on what sort of cards he likes other than he likes nice stamps, so he's a stamp collector. So what I'm going to do is send him this one here of a whale tail of the official version here. So you get Atlantic Canada, this whale diving back into the water or just cresting out. It's indicative of the whales here in Atlantic Canada. So I thought I'd send that one. That's the first one I'm going to send. The next one is this one here. And I'm not going to say the order and who's getting what and all that sort of stuff. But this one is important. This is the Hopewell Rocks. And it's what we call the flower pots. As you can see on top of them, the trees growing on top of the rocks. The waves come in and are slowly digging out and eroding the ground beneath, which creates these flower pots. And this past week, one of these flower pots tipped over because the waves came in and finally took it back to sea. So unfortunately, over time, these flower pots do disappear, but new flower pots are created because of the ones that are on the ground. As it comes back in, it's going to start creating more of them. So over time, they disappear and new ones are created. So that one's going out. This one here is going out to someone who I think would appreciate this vintage advertising card for sewing machines, and see the two kids working away and sewing along. So that one's going out. This one's kind of interesting. It's a floral pattern, but on the back there is a cat. So it is kind of like a greeting card, almost more than a postcard, but I'm going to put it in an envelope and add some stamps to it so it'll work out great. The next one is this one here of the Mountie. I didn't have a lot of Mountie cards. I did get a few just exactly like this one, the prepaid ones. But I'm finding more and more people seem to be wanting the classic Canadian police officer in his uniform. So I'm going to send that one out. I have this Gone with the Wind provocative movie cover. So that is going out to someone. This is what you would say is not a typical Canadian scene. But it is a image here in Canada, and this is the Sand Dunes Provincial Park in Athabasca. So when you think of Canada, you don't think of sand dunes, but we do have a varied area of territories and natural wonder. So things do change quite a bit from the mountains of the Rockies to the desert area in Alberta, where you'd find all the fossils and things like that. And then we have this classic photography advertisement. I'm going to send that one out today. They'll all have to be written up. This one here is kind of interesting. This is a bridge that connects the province of New Brunswick, where I live, to the province of Prince Edward Island, where the storybook of Anne of Green Gables comes from. So send this out. This is a very impressive bridge that spans a very large, the Northumberland Sea. The Northumberland Strait, sorry. And this one here of a polar bear. Although there are no polar bears here in New Brunswick, there are in northern Canada. So if you were in Manitoba or provinces like that in the middle, and as you go closer to the Arctic Circle, you are going to find polar bears. We do have a That Dad Guy card heading out to someone who is a follower on YouTube. This Wales card of New Brunswick. So that is going to go off to somebody. The Blue Nose too. So for those of you who like history, The blue nose plays a very big part in Canadian sailing history, and so this card is going to go off, and there's a little blurb on the back too about the history of the ship. Someone who wanted a moose card. I'm going to send that one off. We have this very long postcard of the museum here in Moncton, which we call Resurgo Place. So that one's going off. And finally, this card of the Palace of Westminster is going off to someone special as well. So there's a history in all these cards. So I've got to go through, I've got to rate them all up. I've got to stamp them and sticker them and all that and get them in the mailbox before our mail carrier comes to pick up the mail. So what I want to do now is put those all together, and then I'll probably walk you down to the mailbox so you can see what's going on outside. Okay, I've written 17 cards and a couple letters. May have gone overboard, I don't know. But it'd be nice to get all these out, get them traveling back in the mail again and off to their destinations. So I'm going to take you down to the mailbox, show you what it's doing outside weather-wise, because sometimes people enjoy that. And then we'll get these off. I've got two going to Russia, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take for them to get there, because I know that aviation has been suspended there now, so I'm guessing no mail will be traveling in or out of Russia at this point in time. And so it's sad, but we'll get them in the mail, and they will get there when they get there. Hopefully people will still get to receive some good news during these bad times. So let's walk down to the mailbox. I've got my giant stack of mail in my hand. Open the front door. A few flurries on the ground. It did snow yesterday, only about 5 centimeters, but enough that the grass area here is now covered back up in snow again. Ooh, it is very bright. I've not been outside very much in the last week and a bit. So this is what we got out here. So I am walking right into the sun, so all I can see is glare back at me. Here's the mailbox. Here's what's going on in the neighborhood as far as the ground. Here's my stack of mail. Stick that in there. Away they can go. And yeah, so that's it. I thought I got all caught up. As soon as I put the last stamp on the letter to go, I got a notice from Postcrossing saying that another one of my cards has reached its destination, so it freed up another slot for me to send another postcard. But after doing 17 today, I think that's it for me for today. I've got hand cramps from writing and putting all those stamps and things on. So let's close this back up, get back in where it's warm, and say that's going to be it for today, I think, for Postcrossing. I've got 17 out. I still am on vacation this week, so tomorrow I think I may try to venture out and see if I can find some more postcards. We'll look around at a couple different locations, and I still have to get a box for a parcel that's going out, so I've got to get that tomorrow too. So I may take you along and show what's going on. Hopefully you'll enjoy a little adventure. Until then, stay safe. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?